Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Sunday gathering that brought tears to my eyes. I never left you and I never will. Remember who you are. Well, each week we try to help you remember who you really are. And that's a divine soul having a human experience. And this journey as a human can be the very toughest one, but through it, there can be pain. There can also be joy, and there can also be a lot of learning experiences that we are able to share some insight, love, and be of service to our fellow travelers. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sandra Champlain. I am joined today by my dear friends Darren, Wynne, and Dominic Boag. And I'll turn it over to Darren as he is the one who created our Sunday gathering. Carrie and Phil are still out of town for another couple of weeks, but we are really glad you're here. So welcome.
Hello, everyone, and a massive welcome to each and every one of you. And thank you for joining us once again here today. It's my pleasure to be the host today, and I've created today's theme. Today's theme is moving forward, but I won't go into too much of that in a moment because that will be covered in the address. But also today is Father's Day in many countries throughout the world. So our theme is moving forward, but we wanted to link it into Father's Day as well and say a massive happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there and all those people that have earned that title father, including you ladies who've raised children on your own and have played that important role within the lives of children today. But also not forgetting all those fathers in the world unseen that are here with us each and every day. So today we remember those who have played that important roles within all of our lives. So today I will be doing the opening prayer, the reading and part of the address and the words for the week. You have Sandra Champlain, the hostess with the mostest, who will be doing all behind the scenes stuff. She will also be doing our healing segment for today, taking part in the address and doing our announcements of the week. And then you have the wonderful Dominic Boag, who will be doing part of the address and our closing prayer for the week. And of course, not to forget our demonstration of mediumship. So I'm privileged to be sat here with these two here today, as well as you guys here joining us and being part of one together. So without further ado, if you'd all like to close your eyes and join me for the opening prayer. To our dear friends, helpers and loved ones in that world we call unseen, we unite here today as friends, brothers and sisters from around our globe, coming together as one, uniting together here today with the same goal and the same intent within our heart and our mind, as we unite today under that banner of We Don't Die, and to bring the two worlds together again. As we come together here today united, we do so from within different countries within our lands. We come together speaking different languages and having different dialects. We come together from different backgrounds and different understandings, but today we unite here in the name of love, for the love and joy of uniting the two worlds together as one, once again. And in doing so, we cast aside our own wants, our own needs, and our own desires, and we truly come together as one and for the good of all humanity, and allow ourselves to be immersed in that unconditional love and that healing balm of the unseen world. As we enter into this gathering, we do so with no demands or no expectations, but allow our workers to be free and open to share the words and thoughts of all those in the unseen world, which in turn will bring us those moments of joy, healing, and happiness, so that we may leave this Sunday gathering in a better place. Each and every one of us deems it an absolute joy and privilege to walk hand in hand, side by side, and represent your world here today, and we will do it to the best of our ability and our understanding. As we enter into this Sunday gathering, we do so remembering all those fathers that have gone before us, and we come together in happiness, joy, and an abundance of love, so that we can truly unite the two worlds together as one once again. And we ask that that healing light continues to shine to all four corners of our world, to bring that joy, that healing, and that upliftment to all those hearts that may be in need at this time. So without further ado, my friends, we welcome you here today. Amen. Okay, I'm now going to go straight into the reading, and you know what I'm like, I can never make a decision. So I've just got two little stories to read to you guys, which are quite poignant, I think, for the theme that I've come up with today. You may have heard them, you may not, but enjoy them nonetheless. The first one is the carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean. A young woman went to her mother and told her about her life and how things were so hard for her. She did not know how she was going to make it and wanted to give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling. It seemed as one problem was solved, a new one arose. Her mother took her to the kitchen and she filled 3 pots with water and placed each on a high fire. Soon the pots came to a boil. In the first, she placed the carrots. In the second, she placed the eggs. And in the last, she placed ground coffee beans. She let them sit and boil without saying a word. In about 20 minutes, she turned off the burners. She fished the carrots out and placed them in a bowl. She poured the eggs out and placed them in a bowl. Then she ladled the coffee out and placed it in a bowl. Turning to her daughter, she asked, "Tell me, what do you see?" "Carrots, eggs, and coffee," the young woman replied. The mother brought her closer and asked her to feel the carrots. She did and noted that they were soft. She then asked her to take an egg and break it. After pulling off the shell, she observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, she asked her to sip the coffee. The daughter smiled as she tasted its rich aroma. The daughter then asked, "What does it mean, mother?" Her mother explained that each of these objects had faced the same adversity, boiling water, but each reacted differently. The carrot went in strong, hard, and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile. Its thin outer shell had protected its liquid interior, but after sitting through the boiling water, its inside became hardened. The ground coffee beans were unique. However, after they were in the boiling water, they had changed the water. "Which are you?" the mother asked her daughter. "When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? Think of this. Which am I? Am I the carrot that seems strong, but with pain and adversity, do I wilt and become soft and lose my strength? Am I the egg that starts with a malleable heart, but changes with the heat? Did I have a fluid spirit, but after a death, a breakup, or financial hardship, does my shell look the same? But on the inside, am I bitter and tough, with a stiff spirit and a hardened heart? Or am I like the coffee bean? The bean actually changes the hot water, the very circumstance that brings the pain. When the water gets hot, it releases the fragrance and flavor. If you are like the bean, when things are at their worst, you get better and change the situation around you. When the hours are the darkest and the trials are the greatest, do you elevate to another level? How do you handle adversity? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? My next little story is called Rafting. By good fortune, I was able to raft down the Motu River in New Zealand twice during the last year. The magnificent 4-day journey traverses one of the last wilderness areas in the North Island. The first expedition was led by Buzz, an American guide with a great deal of rafting experience and many stories to tell of mighty rivers such as the Colorado. With a leader like Buzz, there was no reason to fear any of the great rapids of the Motu. The first half day in the gentle upper reaches was spent developing teamwork and coordination. Strokes had to be mastered, and the discipline of the following commands without question was essential. In the boiling fury of a rapid, there would be no room for any mistake. When Buzz bellowed above the roar of the water, an instant reaction was essential. We mastered the Motu. In every rapid we fought against the river and we overcame it. The screamed commands of Buzz were matched by only the fury of our paddles as we took the raft exactly where Buzz wanted it to go. At the end of the journey, there was a great feeling of triumph. We had won. We proved that we were superior. We knew that we could do it. We felt powerful and good. The mystery and majesty of the Motu had been overcome. The second time I went down the Motu, the experience I had gained should have been invaluable. But the guide on this journey was a very softly spoken Kiwi. It seemed that it would not even be possible to hear his voice above the noise of the rapids. As we approached the first rapid, he never even raised his voice. He did not attempt to take command of us or the river. Gently and quietly, he felt the mood of the river and watched every little whirlpool. There was no drama and no shouting. There was no contest to be won. He loved the river. We sped through each rapid with grace and beauty, and after a day, the river had become our friend, not our enemy. The quiet Kiwi was not our leader, but only the person whose sensitivity was more developed than our own. Laughter replaced the tension of achievement. Soon the quiet Kiwi was able to lean back and let all of us take turns as leader. A quiet nod was enough to draw attention to the things our lack of experience prevented us from seeing. If we made a mistake, then we laughed, and it was the next person's turn. We began to penetrate the mystery of the Motu. Now, like the quiet Kiwi, we listened to the river, and we looked carefully for all those things we had not even noticed the first time. At the end of the journey, we had overcome nothing except ourselves. We did not want to leave behind our friend, the river. There was no contest, and so nothing had been won. Rather, we had become one with the river. It remains difficult to believe that the external circumstances of the two journeys were similar. The difference was in an attitude and a frame of mind. At the end of the journey, it seemed that there could be no other way. Given the opportunity to choose a leader, everyone would have chosen someone like Buzz. At the end of the second journey, we had glimpsed a very different vision, and we felt humble and intensely happy. So thank you for listening to me, and I'll hand you over to Sandra.
Thanks so much, Darren. Love your stories. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into our healing segment. And of course, we can remember those in the world that need some healing. We can picture them happy, healthy, and well. Those areas of the world that need healing too. And even maybe some of the critters of this great planet. Before we started our Sunday gathering, our opening video had young Simba looking into the water and being there with his dad and remember who you are. And I had this thought, what if we looked in the mirror and we really remembered who we are? Powerful souls having this human experience. It's not easy, but we can be brave. And what if we looked into the eyes of that person looking back? And behind those eyes, not just dads for Father's Day, but moms and grandparents and ancestors, all who've made you who you are today. We are powerful. So as we go into our healing segment, send some love out and maybe just imagine everybody looking into that mirror, remembering who they really are, how powerful we really are. The power of healing is real. So here is the video Darren has picked with some amazing words.
I hope you enjoyed the words in that song. They are, for me, they're quite poignant. And if you listen to the words, it can give us so much encouragement individually as ourselves. If I look like I'm glowing, by the way, I'm having a hot flush. I'm having one of those senior moments, I think. Today's theme, moving forward. I was in Scotland last week. I was lucky to be in Scotland with the wonderful Dominic Boag, Josephine Mackenzie and Scott Milligan and many other wonderful people. Many I can recognise by the names on here today. A lot of the people that was in Scotland are here today. And when we came back, I had to come up with a theme for today. And I go through these, I think, what do I do? You know, they have all these ideas and suggestions. And I thought, I'll know what I'll do. I'll do the theme moving forward. And what I mean by that, we had so many people on the retreat last week with so many great tutors, and there was advice given, there was help given, there was guidance given, you know, because we all want to grow, we all want to learn. And when we came back, I thought, how many people are actually going to adhere to that advice, that guidance, that help, that support to move forward with their development, their understanding, their mediumship? And how many people, not intentionally, but how many people are going to go back to doing it how they always did it, go back to the same old ways? I know I can only speak from personal experience. You know, that's the sort of thing I would do. You go to courses, you know, whether it's work, whether it's spiritual, whatever it may be, you get all these wonderful ideas, these suggestions, this advice, and you feel really pumped up, and you feel, right, when I get back, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then life gets in the way, and it all goes out the window, and you go back to doing how we used to do it before, in the same old routines, the same old style. And like I said, I can only speak from work experience. I worked for a company for 15 plus years. I became comfortable, I had a constant income. The job became easier because I'd done it for so long, and I couldn't see the bigger picture. And sometimes we can't always see that bigger picture. People advise you, people tell you, but for whatever reason, we have a block. We can't see that bigger picture, and I'm guilty of that. And it only took to the point that I had people work that I didn't enjoy working with, to the point I resented going into work. And after 15 years of working for one company, I was forced to change my job because I absolutely resented it. And I've always believed, if you get to the point where you can't tolerate something or really detest it, or can't get out of bed in the morning, things need to change. But I think for me, I left it a little bit too late. But you know what? It's when I came out of that environment and moved on to something new, I was like, I had that realization moment. There's more to this world. There's more out there. I'm worth more than I gave myself credit for. And I'm sure many of you have been in that boat, or probably in that boat now. And sometimes, like the song said a minute ago, you need to be brave. You need to make that step. You need to move forward sometimes. Whether it's in mediumship, whether it's in work, whether it's in your life. I've had those moments where life becomes monotonous. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you work all day, you come back, stick the TV on, sit around the TV, you go to bed. Next day you get up, you do the same thing day in, day out. And it becomes Groundhog Day. And it becomes, for me, if I was in that sort of lifestyle, it becomes boring. I don't like sticking to the norm. But yet so many people do it, but don't enjoy it. So I suppose we need to we need to be brave, we need to be bold and make those steps and those changes. In order to change our life, that's the only way we can do it. We can only change it from ourselves. It has to be us that makes that change, that makes that step. So sometimes we have to be brave and we have to be bold in order to do that. When we look at this Sunday gathering, who'd have thought, go back pre-COVID, if people spoke about having an online Sunday gathering, people would have brushed it off. They would have, nobody would have even considered it. And myself and Sandra actually spoke about doing a Sunday gathering way before COVID, but we kind of never got it together, never got it going. Then COVID happened. We took that step. We was brave. And here we are 160 plus weeks later. We thoroughly enjoy it. We don't fight. Every week is different. And that's what we wanted to do, wanted to achieve that. You can get stuck in that rut and go to and again, I think I mentioned it the other week, you can go to Spiritualist Church and you have the same thing week in, week out. We wanted to change that. We wanted to do something different. So like I said, here we are 160 plus weeks later. Hopefully every gathering is different to the previous one. We have different people, different themes, different styles. And that's what we try to do. We try to make it different, fun. That's what life's about. You need to have fun with life. But we all have a desire to learn and grow. And if you're anything like me, my desire list of where I want to go, what I want to do, how I want to do it, it grows day in, day out, week in, week out. And it was only I was having a conversation with someone the other day, a dear friend, who reminded me, the only way you can change things is by looking at yourself. Yes, you can go to courses, you can speak to people, you can get advice, you can get opinions and all that kind of thing. But what we've got to remember deep down, we've all got something in us known as gut instinct. If something feels right, give it a go, give it a try, be brave. If it doesn't feel right, don't go near it, don't do it. And we all have that with people and what have you. And it's like, I was out shopping earlier with Scott. We were doing some shopping at the garden centre, and I'm what I call the sensible one. If many of you have met me and Scott, I'm classed as a sensible, and he's not so well. I don't mean it in a rude way. He's a bit more flippant with things. And he picked up this plant. I said, "How much is that?" He goes, "Oh no, it's fine." And I'm the sort of one, no, you can get it cheaper. You can get it cheaper. And he looked at me, and he said, "Darren, you only live once." And it kind of hit me again. I thought, actually, he's right. Why am I holding on to this money to get it cheaper and all that? I'll probably spend more money driving around trying to find it cheaper. And I thought, yeah, actually, you're right. And it's true. We only live once, and we need to enjoy our lives and make the most of our lives. And sometimes the only way we can do it is by making bold moves and moving, making a bold decision ourselves. Are we going to get everything right? No, probably not. Are we going to make mistakes? Yeah, probably. I've done it many times. But that's how we learn and that's how we grow. If we sit back and think, oh, I'm not going to do this in case that happens, and don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of it. I'm one of those people that holds back from doing something because I question it all, or that might not work, that may not be right, that may cost too much, whatever it may be. But actually, when we really let ourselves go and go forward for what we truly want within our own hearts, you'll be surprised at what you can achieve and what the outcome can be. The last thing I want to do in my life is to be stagnant and, and we've all done it. We get into that rut, don't we? Like I said before. But we just need to have that encouragement ourselves. We need to kick ourselves up the backside sometimes, me included. I always need to give myself that kick up the backside. But sometimes the only way we can move forward is being brave and being bold. And like I said, my desire list grows daily and weekly. And the only way I'm going to achieve any of those desires is to be brave, be bold, and move forward in a positive way. So thank you for listening to me. I'll now hand you over to Dominic.
Beautiful words, Darren. But it's very true, like Darren says, in order to move forward, we truly have to be brave. But if we start to look at what is stopping us as an individual moving forward, when we start to look at the bigger picture, we start to realize I am being held back. And when we're being held back, you need to ask yourself, are you then growing as an individual? And sometimes we, myself included, we get scared to move forward because we don't want to let people go, or we don't want to let people down. But sometimes we have to allow ourselves to accept that in order for me to move forward to the next part of my journey, I need to leave you behind. But it's important to leave people behind with a sense of grace, appreciation, and love. But if this person is no longer serving you, or if that person is maybe holding you back from enjoying your journey, then you're never going to truly grow as a person. And that takes bravery and that takes courage to be able to, in a sense, end that relationship with a grace and move forward. And as you move forward, you want to be moving forward with excitement, because that itself has a new journey to begin. And in new beginnings, beautiful things will unfold. There will be other beautiful relationships that will blossom, and other people will come into your life that helps you grow as an individual, but will also help you get to that next chapter of your life as well. I'm a true believer not to focus on your destination, but to enjoy the adventure. Because let's face it, we will always reach our destination, whether it's in 10 months or whether it's in 10 years. But look at the beauty around that adventure as you're making that journey. But moving forward is all about growth. We as spiritualists preach and believe it's about being here and learning and growing. But are you really learning and growing by taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back? Probably not. Because if you are going backwards and backwards, you're not really then evolving, and your soul itself is not really being nourished. And as Darren says, things then become a little bit boring and stagnant. And you deserve better than that. This is one of the things that I always teach my student. You deserve better, and you deserve the best. But sometimes, especially when we are doing mediumship or any spiritual development, it can be very scary and it can be very daunting. And again, that huge B word, brave, that needs to come in. And you need to be brave in order to move forward. and to move forward within your mediumship and your belief. But also something that brings us all together today, that word grief, that horrible, dark feeling that we have all experienced. There comes a point, ladies and gentlemen, where we do need to move forward. But let me just remind you from the Spirit, moving forward does not mean you are leaving me behind. And that's the problem when we're stuck in grief. And again, whether it's 10 days in grief or 10 years in grief, we truly have to move forward. And whether it's just one step forward is better than no step at all. But people get stuck on the belief that if they move forward in life, it's moving forward without their loved ones by their side. And that couldn't be further from the truth. As a medium for half of my life now, I get great pleasure in sharing with clients that their loved one has moved forward with them and is still a part of their journey. And that's why it's important not to be so fixated on the destination. Appreciate the beautiful journey that you are blessed to still be having. Appreciate that adventure, knowing that as you move forward, your loved ones move forward with you. So always remember, by your side is where they're meant to be. So let's move forward together and hand it back to Sandra.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love being with you guys today. All right, this is audience participation. Who here is really hard on themselves? Raise your hand. Yep. Whether it's your virtual hand, your real hand. Yeah, I know who I am with. Raise your hand if you think you should be somewhere else, like further ahead on your journey. You should have had more things accomplished. Yep, me too. Wow. What is it about that little voice in our head that tells us that we're not good enough, has us be afraid? I can never do it. This is for other people, not for me. I mean, it's brutal. If I asked you to take some time and to write down the successes you've had in your life and your joys, you would write down a ton of stuff, from the big stuff to the little stuff. And there on that piece of paper is the person you really are. You can do anything and you can handle anything. And how do I know that? It's because you're here today. You've experienced so many things, the goods and the bads, and you have made it through, haven't you? You have. But that little voice, oh, it wants to tell us we're not good enough, not smart enough. Oh, and it has us procrastinate. Raise your hand if you're a procrastinator. This past week, I felt so much pressure, and I couldn't really understand where it was coming from. I get a lot of emails these days, and I'm grateful. I really am grateful for people sharing their stories with me, but some days I might get 200. It is virtually impossible to get back to everybody on a timely manner. So I apologize. I will eventually get there. But I always have a to-do list, and it never ends. There's always something I think of and it gets added to. So that plus all the emails and everything else, family responsibilities I have going on. So I did this. I put it all down on one piece of paper, what I had to do. I told my dear mother, I said, I am not leaving my room until every single email is complete. I said, I'm not leaving my room till I make a decision about everything on this list. Someone had told me a while ago, there's something called an integrity list. And these are things that you say you'll do that you haven't done yet, or things you feel responsible for, maybe things that you've signed up for and you haven't used yet. Those things that are weighing you down. So it's a good thing to do every now and again, once a month if you can, but look at it and look at it realistically. You and me, we're not the same people we were yesterday. We might have different likes and different dislikes, and our passions may be different. So I am giving you approval to cross off that list anything you no longer intend to do. Even if you paid money for it, cross it off if it's not there in your heart anymore. Bump up to the top of the list things that are important to you. Things that you can take one little step in the right direction to that. We're going to be around on this earth a long time. We are. So why put off and procrastinate to next week something that you can do a little teeny bit of today? Here's what happened to me. Once I started crossing those things off my list and I got all those emails done, wow. Well, then I thought, well, what's the next thing to do? Oh, I could clean my room. I could do this. There's this sense of accomplishment that once you get one thing going, you start on another, you start on another. And I tell you what, the freedom in my mind, my mom said I was like another person. So you see me on camera, I'm always smiling, but I have a lot of responsibility. So I do a really good job at hiding sometimes some of the pressure that's going on in my life. But I had just this sense of freedom. And I think that's available for all of us. Yes, we are adults. Yes, we have things that we need to take care of. But as the gentleman said, it is about the journey. I want you to know right here, right now, on our Sunday gathering, and exactly what you're wearing and exactly where you're sitting or standing is exactly where you need to be. You are at the right place at the right time. You may have guilt that says, I should have done this, I should have done that. Well, let's erase all of that because your younger self, even if it was just yesterday, did the very best thing you could do with what you knew and what you had. Same with the people in your life. A lot of people don't know that there's a bigger picture. They don't have the tools and distinctions to say, use gratitude to bring them out of a dark place and help raise them up a little. A lot of people don't have other people that are empowering. A lot of people have people around them that complain all the time. So they don't know. So give your fellow travelers a break. It's a good place to add in a little forgiveness. We human beings have 3 fears. Yes, we do. And these are intrinsic to all humans. The top 3 fears are the fear of dying, the fear of failure, and the fear of being alone. On our Sunday gathering, it is number 169 today. Yes, it is. We aim every week to join the 2 worlds. Well, they're already joined, but to give evidence that we survive physical death, that our loved ones are around, they support us, they love us. They're our cheerleaders. And when we close our eyes for the last time and open them again, there they are. They're there. They truly are. We have a fear of failure. Man, I have started and stopped things and given up on things a ton of times. But I keep reaching back and saying, okay, Sandra, what is it you're passionate about today? I'm trying to lessen the load, responsibilities that are no longer there. They no longer match for me. Folks, it's okay to say no to people. Truly it is. Everybody's got a life to lead. But if you fail, cheers to you because you're one more step to success. And I bet you learned a whole bunch of stuff in the process, and you can be quite the inspiration to someone else. Now, let's talk about this fear of being alone. It's so easy to want to be alone. And the more you're alone, the more you seem to convince yourself that that's where you need to be. We can only be our best selves when we're with other people, truly. Get into communication. I love alone time, don't get me wrong. But if you guys have been with us on our Thursday student demonstrations, I get a little bit silly. I'm like, who's that girl? I'm dancing in my seat, doing the woohoos. You know what I'm doing. That's the real Sandra, and it feels good. Yes, we're on Zoom screens across from each other, but we are together. I know we're together. Reach out. And you truly are not alone because, again, if you look in that mirror or you imagine the cheerleaders behind you, you are empowered, you are supported, you are loved. If you could take a little time to quiet your mind and just talk to your loved ones, engage your imagination, that's how they communicate. And all of a sudden, you might get some walks down memory lanes. Remember when we did this? Remember when we did this? Those are just those little times that they're sharing. We're still here with you. We really are. I don't know what it's going to be like when we get to the spirit world. I don't know how difficult it's going to be to communicate. I don't understand this whole sense of no time. You know, it's going to be a different world, but we're still going to be us. And I'm excited about it. But while we're here, there's so much value in living life. So being brave, taking that step forward. Could you imagine planning a trip to Disney World? We love Disney, but imagine planning the trip, buying the airline tickets, getting the best hotel room, and then you get to the theme park and you say, I'm just going to stay in the parking lot. Because it's scary going inside. Oh, there's roller coasters, there's rides, there could be things that are frightening. Animal Kingdom, oh, there's tigers and lions and things. And how many of us do that? We hold back from entering the theme park. Yeah, the theme park is called life, and there's some real painful things that can happen, but there's also so much joy. And just outside of our comfort zone is where those new experiences are, and even our dreams come true. You may have heard me say this before, but if we are afraid of something, if you get yourself in the present moment and you take a step into your fear and you stay that present, the fear disappears. You can only pay attention to one thing at one time. It's not easy, but there are rewards on the other side of our comfort zone. Last thing I want to say to you is really, well, I don't even want to tell you, I just want to remind you, take that time. Take a little trip down memory lane, both of all your successes. And there on that piece of paper, if you want to keep that next to you when you wake up in the morning, is the person you really are, filled with a great personality. You've done a lot of things. You've handled a lot. You're strong. You've helped a lot of people. Let that person be brave and go into whatever it is you're doing next. And the second thing is lighten up. That's for all of us. I know Dominic and Darren and myself, everything we talk about is stuff we need to do as well. We don't have it all handled. We're human, just like you are. But lighten up, get rid of the things you're no longer going to do. Reassess what you're passionate about. Take some time to be with other people and know that you are terribly loved. You are. There's nobody like you. There's never going to be anybody else like you. Don't leave planet Earth and just sit in the parking lot, okay? Don't. Go for some dreams. Do some new things. Have someone join you on the adventure. It can be a whole lot of fun. Okay, thank you for listening to that. We are now going to move into our demonstration of mediumship. And we have Dominic back with us. Let's give him a woohoo. If this is your first time on the Sunday gathering or you've been with us before, just a little refresher about how this part goes. I know some of you still have your hands raised. Let's just take them down right now. Dominic has had a long-term relationship as not just a medium, but a teacher of mediumship and working with the spirit world. The spirit world and our loved ones work together, just like Darren, Dominic, and I work together on behalf of, we got over 150 people live with us here today. So there will be a handful of representatives from the spirit world saying, we are all with you, we are. So a few of you will get readings today. And I say for everyone else, listen into the evidence and listen into the communications, because just like our address today, we can all use a bit of the information. We do the medium demonstration just to show you how close they are. They're here, they support us, they witness what we do in our life. And bottom line is they really love us. So people from the spirit world, they're real people, by the way. They're not balls of light or energy or any of that nonsense. They're real people and they have their personalities, thank goodness. But they'll take turns presenting themselves to Dominic in whichever way they will. They'll use his memories, his thoughts, his feelings, sounds maybe, pictures in his mind. And at this time, for any medium to be able to put away personal thoughts and trust that the thoughts and feelings that are coming through are for somebody here, it's a very generous thing to do. So he will describe the person that is contacting him, and he'll give some bits of information about that person. We want you to really listen in And if you can understand all of the information of what he's saying as somebody that you know that no longer walks this earth, we want you to press your raise hand button. I know you've pressed your raise hand button before, but if you want to press it again, give that finger a little workout, feel free. So once again, this is if you understand all the information that he said as the person that he's describing. Now, it could be a loved one, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be somebody a little distant, maybe somebody you worked with or somebody from the past. So we really want you to listen in. And we do ask that you accept all the information first, because when we have a large gathering like this, sometimes people can take just a little. We'll let Dominic work that out. But if you can understand all the information, press the raise hand button, and then we'll go from there. If you do get an opportunity to work with Dominic, I will press a magic button on my side, and you'll get a little pop-up that says host would like you to unmute. Then you just press accept there. Let Dominic do the work. Please only say yes, no, or I don't know to his information. So many times recipients get so excited, they want to share all about their loved one. Well, we don't want you to do that. We want you to, and everyone, to leave our Sunday gathering know that Dominic really, truly is in communication with our loved ones, truly. So just yes, no, and I don't know. Now, he's a full-grown man. If something doesn't fit and you want to say no, please do. No just means a new opportunity. Okay, so that's how it goes. Yeah, so we like to play a piece of music just before we go. This is Islands in the Stream by Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. We're big Dolly Parton fans. This is a good opportunity to just feel the love of your loved ones, to engage that imagination. Say, I know you're right here with me. Bring them close. Sing along if you know the words. It's nice. So put a smile on your face if you don't have one on right now. My mother says a smile is the best accessory. And we're going to lighten up. Okay, here we go. Dun, da, da, da. Love that song. Welcome, Dominic. We're so happy to have you back.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm looking forward to seeing what beautiful connections we have today. So just as I was listening, I became aware of this beautiful lady that stepped forward from the spirit world. And I know that she would have lived in the same house as you. I didn't feel this was coming as mum. I feel this would be more gran or nan. And I know that there would be this beautiful memory with gran of collecting dolls or porcelain dolls. Because as I was connecting with her, she was showing me all these different dolls that had many different meanings to her. They were collectibles, but I know that you would have the memories of being with Gran and looking after these dolls. Now, I wasn't sure if I heard Lil or perhaps Lily or Lillian, but I heard the name that sounded like Lil with this lady. But she made me feel that towards the end of her life, she wasn't quite herself. And I feel that dementia or Alzheimer's, there was some condition that came in with this lady that made her feel that she wasn't a shadow of the woman that she once was. And I feel as I connected with her, this feeling of you living upstairs and she lived downstairs, and I know you would come down to spend time with me, but I keep getting this whole thing about all the different dolls, the porcelain dolls, the dolls with the dresses. There was just such a big thing with this beautiful lady and the dolls is the easiest way that I could describe with her. And as I saw her, she was the most beautifulest, the most immaculate woman. And I feel very much her hair would have been befont, beautiful white. She would have had the earrings that would match like a pearl necklace. And I know that she always would wear dresses, not pants, not trousers, not jeans. I feel she always wore dresses as I connected with her. And I know just latterly, she may have made it into her 90s, maybe 91, but I don't get any more after that.
Thank you very much, Dominic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who understands this information? and knows this lovely lady? Please press your raise hand button. Okay, nobody's hand is raised. Dominic.
Okay, let me just go for a little bit more. I feel also with this beautiful lady, I know there would be a Chrissy or a Christina. I hear this name being significant to her as well. I know you would have memories also being in the bedroom or the guest bedroom, the spare bedroom, where there would be a doll that would sit on what I would describe as a wicker chair or a rocking chair. I feel there would be shelves with little ones sat upon it, the little doll sitting upon it. But I know Chrissy, Christine, Christina, this name would also be significant with you.
Okay, thank you. We have a Christine with her hand raised. Thank you all for listening in. Christine, if you would press your unmute button. Hi, Christine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, that's good, thank you. I can understand all that, Darren.
Perfect, Dylan. And do you understand, just let me quickly check, because like I said, I wasn't too sure what I picked up at first, but do you understand any Lillian or Lily?
Yes, I understand Lily in the spirit world.
Perfect, fabulous, thank you, Dylan. But again, with the greatest of respect, I was very aware of these beautiful dolls. And again, I know that there would be some small collectible dolls. There would have been bigger ones that maybe even children could play with. But it's not just 1, 2, or 3. Like, I feel this lady, when she passed away, my family were left with at least 4 boxes of these different dolls.
Yeah, they were from all over the world, yes.
Perfect. And I just felt very much they would even have like certificates, or they would have little badges, things that would tell its authenticity is the easiest way that I could describe.
Yes.
Perfect. Now I know that as she connects here with me, darling, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but she keeps telling me, she's got her hand on my shoulder here, okay? And she's telling me to say, you need to know that you are not going through this situation alone at the moment. And I'm not going to pry, I'm not going to say too much, but she wants you to know the way that you were there for her towards the end, she's there for you just now. Okay. Yes. I know there became a point where this lady was physically with us, but maybe not fully aware. Okay.
Yes.
Because I know that as a family, you at points had to be her voice, if I can say that to you.
Yes.
But if I could take you back, when she was here physically well and not with this condition, boy, she could tell you anything. You could ask her a date, she could tell you where someone's address was. She was very much a woman that absorbed information, you see. Yes. Because I know that she keeps bringing this to my attention of, who I was to who I became was very difficult, if I could say that to you. And I know also that she would be with Joan or Jane in the spirit world as well, darling.
Joan.
Yep, perfect. Because she keeps telling me to say, you'll never believe I'm with them all. We're here.
Oh my God, yeah.
We're together, you see. Now, I know very much before she really went downhill, before she needed to be professionally cared for, there would have been a beautiful memory of maybe 2 days or 3 days where yourself and her would have went to what I feel would have been like a seaside resort or a beach resort, almost like a little chalet or maybe even a caravan, which brings to my attention. Yep. Yeah. Before things went terribly wrong, she says.
Yes, that's definitely.
Can I ask you, sweetie, would there be any connections in the family to Bournemouth?
Bournemouth, I'm not sure, but my husband travels round that way as well.
Okay, because I just see written here Bournemouth or Bourne. Not too sure, but it felt Bournemouth. But she just keeps talking to me about someone here still to this day actually has one of these dolls in its original box.
Yes.
And she's telling me to say, I would hate to know how much they're worth now, because some of them went to charity shop.
Yeah.
And I just feel she's acknowledging the care and the compassion that she was shown before she passed. And that is very important for her family to hear, that she knows how much she was loved and how much she was cared for. But can I just say to you in the most gratefulest of way, she kind of gave me the impression of a love like Dolly Parton as well, you know, the way she looked. You know, not what to say about Dolly's age, but you would never look at her and go, oh, she's up there in age, because she still looked good, is the easiest way that I can say. You see, but I know she just wants you to know, whatever situation you're going through at the moment, she is walking with you. Okay,
Thank you.
she is walking with you. I actually see you walking with your arm under her elbow, almost like giving her support, but keeping her independent. You supported her when taking her to the garden or to the beach.
Completely, completely.
She's doing the same for you, darling.
Oh, thank you, Dominic. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for allowing me to work with you, darling.
Oh, no, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Dominic. And thank
Okay,
you.
just as I start to work a little bit more, I feel I would have someone's brother stepping forward from Spirit at the moment. I know that this beautiful man would have spent time within the military. I know he would have spent time either in Iraq or Afghanistan. I know he takes pride in his service. Is the easiest way that I could say to you. I do get the impression that when he came home, understandably, he wasn't quite the same. And I feel he may have turned to alcohol, or he may have turned to something else that made his life that little bit easier to deal with. I know as he connects here with me as well, he keeps talking to me about moving away from the family. So I feel he was detached in some way from the siblings, from the family. And I feel as I connect, there may be a Tim or a Timmy that would connect with this fella. And I know that when he was alive, very adventurous. He's got this beautiful, beautiful smile, the most beautifulest of eyes that I feel could tell many stories himself. But he just makes me feel very much, he pushed you away. He didn't quite know where he was, what he was doing, where he was going. And I know that he, I almost feel very playful with him. It's so weird because when he comes back, I don't feel he's the same. But I know that you would know he either done some form of parachute or bungee jump. Like I feel he loved adrenaline. He chased adrenaline, is the easiest way that I could say to you as well. But I feel Tim or Timmy would have a strong connection with him. And I also feel maybe, say that again. Like I feel there would also be like a Jerry or a Gerard or Jed name that would maybe also connect with this beautiful brother. And I feel maybe a female like Deborah or Debbie maybe connecting to you as well.
Thank you very much. All right, friends, who can understand this brother in the spirit world? Press your raise hand button, of course.
And I also feel, just if this helps as well, I do feel that I may be connecting around California area. I keep being drawn out there as well. So I do feel there may be a connection to this part of the States as well, if this would help.
Thank you very much. No one here? It's pulling at your heart. Could this be for me? If you think it is, press your raise hand button, please.
And just to help with a little bit more evidence as well, I know that this young man would have already been found passed away. So I feel he was already found by the time someone finds him. Okay, because I do feel there would be questions over his passing for the family.
Okay, we had a hand raised for a second. There we go. I don't know your name, but your hand is raised. Hello? Hello? You are unmuted, but I can't hear your voice. You're coming through as group member. Can you, let's see, having audio issues. Well, that's no problem. How about I can try to make you if you're open to having your camera on, you can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So if you can press the accept to being a panelist, that would work.
Technology.
It's crazy. Or you know what else you could do? You could put a Y for yes or N for no when he delivers information. I'm not able to promote this person. Yeah, they don't have their camera on.
That's okay. What I will do is I will just continue to deliver the information, the message, so that we can move forward.
Okay.
But the greatest thing that this beautiful fella had brought to me was wanting to say that I reconnected with the family. I know that he talks about someone here just now. I feel maybe your own son or a nephew. There's a younger man here who is also going through some challenges at the moment, and he wants you to know he's overseeing the situation. He's doing his best to basically prevent what happened with him, is the easiest way that I could describe it. It's almost like he's trying to be that hero now for the family, the way he was a hero for other people, especially when it comes to his service within the military. I know that he would have went through a situation of being someone's hero or pulling someone out of a wreck in some way. But that's the impression I get. Like I said, I know Timothy would connect with him. I know Jed or Gerard would be significant, but I also feel Sean. Okay, so I do have to just say that as well. But he is aware that the family were very concerned for him, but he didn't let the family be there to help him. He keeps saying, I had to go through my own journey. I had to go through my pace. It wasn't fair on me burdening the family with my issues or my problems. But he keeps telling me to say he's never felt in such a good shape or in such a happier place now in the spirit world than when he walked this earth. Okay, so I will leave that, and again, Sandra, you can watch for that chat and maybe you can fill that in at the end for me, but let's just keep moving forward if we would, so we could have this conversation continue. Okay.
Perfect. And our friend has said yes to your information, so thank you.
Okay, that's good. Now, I also feel very much, just as I'm connecting here as well, I am aware of a husband stepping forward here just now. And I know as he's connecting here with me, he was a very quiet gentleman. I don't feel he would have interacted with many strangers as what he's doing here just now. But I know as he connects here with me, he does make me feel very much that he would have had cancer for a short period of time. And I do get the impression that my family, including my wife, would have cared for me, would have nourished me, and would have done what they could for me, is the easiest way that I could say to you. But I felt very much with this man, he either was an artist or he liked to draw, because I felt very much I wanted to talk about some of my paintings or some of my drawings, etc., still being here within the family. And I know that you have came across something recently that maybe he had drawn, is the easiest way that I could describe at the moment. But I know as I connect with this beautiful man here, there may be like an Italian connection or a Spanish connection. I don't feel he is with full English people. I feel there's a mixture here of people that he's surrounded with in the spirit world as I connect. I know that the name Joe or Joseph would connect with this beautiful fella as well here. But I also felt like Ray or Raymond, keeps coming to me here at the moment. I do feel he's been in the spirit world a little while now, so maybe going back ever so gently, but he keeps acknowledging the anniversary. So whether this is his anniversary coming up or our wedding anniversary coming up, he keeps bringing to my attention about the anniversary. Now, what will hopefully help with this a little bit more, he does acknowledge of not wanting to accept that he had an illness. I feel he didn't want to go to the doctor, but you kept telling him he had to get help, there was something not right. And he keeps making me feel by the time that he got results back, things had taken a turn for the worst. But the drawing or the painting, this seems very, very significant with this beautiful man.
Thank you very much. All right, who understands this information? I know, Betty, you had your hand raised for most of it and you put it down on the
That's
very
interesting because I
end.
kept feeling there was Elizabeth.
Okay, she had her hand raised and she took it down just by your last information. Okay, we have Maria with her hand raised. Maria, if you could press your unmute button, please.
Hello there.
Oh,
Don't know if it's an uncle of mine. Whether that.
No. This definitely feels like husband for wife.
Right. Okay then.
Thank
Sorry.
you so much. That's okay. Thank you.
let me see if we can talk to Betty. She had her hand raised for quite some time. Hi, Betty.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can,
Yes,
yeah.
you can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, at first I thought it might have been, he's not a relative of mine, but it's a relative of a relative. But when the more he spoke, it wasn't him, so I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We'd rather get it to the right person than the wrong person.
Thank you.
That's okay.
We have,
No, this definitely feels like husband.
okay. Carol, are you there?
I am, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. What do you understand, sweetie?
Oh, where did she go?
Oh.
Let's bring her back. Carol, I think I kicked you out for a second. Are you there, Carol?
Yeah, hello.
My apologies. What can you understand from
problem.
that information?
So I can understand the husband passed with a cancer. He didn't want to go to the doctors. I tried to get him to go. I can take the Elizabeth, but I don't
Perfect.
understand the other names that were given.
That's okay. I will work with that to see what comes. But would you understand where I get the thing about the drawing or the painting, darling?
Yes, absolutely. He did his artwork.
Perfect. And I felt very much that this would be things that you would still have close to your things that you still treasure, correct?
Very much, yeah.
Perfect. And I know very much somewhere as well, like he could at times draw serious or paint serious things, but also maybe cartoons or caricature type images as well.
Yes, yeah.
Perfect. And I did feel very much about this anniversary coming up as well.
There was an anniversary just gone.
Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it would have been.
Because it just feels very present is the easiest way that I could say to you. Okay. Do you understand where there would be the connection to David as well?
I don't understand that, no.
You don't understand any connection to a cousin Dave or David?
He had a very large family.
Okay.
And I don't know all of his family, I'm afraid.
Not a problem, sweetie, not a problem. Now, I do feel very much as he connected here with me, he was the type of man who enjoyed company, but also really enjoyed his own company as well. You see?
Very much
Because
so.
I feel as he connects here with me, he wasn't always what I would say someone who was forthcoming with feelings or expression, but even when he was maybe in his happiest of place, it may look like he wasn't communicating very well or saying things, but he would say, no, I'm absolutely fine. I promise I'm okay. He didn't want, to dwell on things or overthink things. He was just a man that knew how to be present for himself as well. Is the easiest way that I could say it. You see,
Yeah,
I'm not
airy
fairy or it's all got to be quite, really there, but it keeps making me feel like he would have passed comments to you on several occasions about being soulmates, because he talks about being bonded by the soul, and he keeps trying to remind you of that, if I can say that to you, darling. And I know that he also talks to me about you still have like a wedding card or an anniversary card that you still see his writing in.
Yes, I do.
Yep. Perfect. And I know somewhere along this beautiful man's life, through his work or his career, he would have spent time teaching people or sharing his knowledge or sharing his his understandings. He makes me feel he was a nourisher when it came to other people.
He loved to do that, yes.
Yeah, he keeps telling me to say that the beautiful words that you said to him at the end made him have the security and the peace of mind knowing that you were going to be okay. He tells me to say that you gave him the most beautifulest love and the most beautifulest of send-off. And I'm not talking a funeral or a memorial, I'm talking at the end when you lay with him and you told him that you were there. And I almost feel like you're holding his hand or rubbing his hand, not like this, but caressing his hand in some way. Do you understand that?
I do.
Yeah. And would I be correct to say that you still find yourself drinking out of his mug, his tea mug, his coffee mug?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
he keeps
I do.
telling me to say,
Today,
you,
yeah.
make sure you look after that. You look after that, you see. Would I be correct to say as well, it keeps bringing my attention to a young female, so would I be correct to say you have a daughter?
He does, yes.
Yep, because he keeps telling me to say that he watches over her, but it's interesting, I feel she may live somewhere else.
She does, yeah.
Yeah, because he goes to visit her. Now, again, I mean this with the greatest of respect, but a message that he's trying to deliver to you is, I get to be dad. I get to be dad. Okay, so I know from the spirit world he gets to be dad around this young girl, if I can say that to you, Darren.
That's lovely, yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
He just keeps saying to me that we never got that last trip. He says, but you've went since I've passed.
We
So
didn't get the trip, but I haven't been there.
No, that doesn't feel right. Give me 1 second. It makes me feel there was talk of, we're going to do this, we're going to go there, it may tie in with a birthday, but it keeps making me feel like the plans continued.
What you're saying is right, but I haven't followed through on those plans. I haven't been.
Okay. Have you been discussing with someone about maybe bringing these plans to fruition now then?
Somebody was trying to convince me to do that,
Okay.
yes. Yesterday, actually, yeah.
That's okay, because again, it's just his way of showing you he's been there, he's been present, is the easiest way that I could describe to you, Darren. Okay.
Thank you.
And I don't know what this means, but I feel I need to say something that sounds like Townsley Avenue or Townsland Avenue, okay? But I feel this is a place that would connect to our life together, okay? But he just keeps blowing this beautiful kiss to you, and with the greatness of respect, till death do us part. But you will always be in his heart, darling, the same as you carry him with you through this life as well.
Thank you, that was lovely. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank
you so much for allowing me to chat with you, darling.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Now, I'm very much aware, this is quite cool actually. I'm very much aware of a gentleman stepping forward here just now. I do believe this would be father, but I feel like there's something to do with this man maybe owning or working within a furniture store. So I feel like hardware, furniture, I do feel he was very much a people person. I feel he would love interacting with people. He would always try to give people good deals on, you know, bedroom furnitures or dining tables. I know the furniture is such a big thing with this beautiful man here. And I know as he connects here with me, he talks about his passing being unexpected, you see, and I do feel very much he collapses. So I feel maybe he's had a heart attack or something, but I know that he talks about collapsing to the spirit world, is the easiest way that I could say to you. I know that Bill or William would be significant within this connection as well. And I also feel George would be prominent. I actually see him dressed in a beautiful white shirt. He's got the sleeves rolled up. He's got the black pants on. And I just feel his work was his passion. He worked it up. He brought it into town. He brought it into what it was. And he just keeps making me feel very much that still to this day, his business, the store, either is still flourishing or people still talk about, I remember getting this from there, I remember getting that from there, but it keeps bringing my attention to the store and to the furniture being very, very significant to him and to his family. is the easiest way. I know Kath or Kathleen would also connect with you as well, because he mentions this name. And I feel Elaine or Eileen would have a connection to you also.
Thank you, Dominic. Okay, friends, who can understand this gentleman?
And within a community, he would have been very well known. Like, I feel very generous, perhaps even charitable, but I know he was a part of a community as well. He wasn't just someone that worked there. He tried to be involved.
Thank you. No hands raised yet.
I feel he was at home when he passed. I get the impression he collapses, he passes at home, because I'm very aware of this home surrounding as well.
Thank you. This might be one of those times we have to think out of the box, friends. The furniture company, that's interesting. All right.
I feel like the Kathy or the Catherine, the Kathleen connection should bring this together.
No one's hands are raised yet, Dom. Oh, I spoke too soon. We've got Colleen with her hand raised. Colleen, hello.
Hi, my dad had a furniture store and did die of a heart attack, but I don't know any of the names that you've mentioned.
Okay, let's work with it and see. But most importantly, the furniture store was my main evidence that he presented to me, sweetie. You see?
And that's how he made his living, yeah.
And I feel, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I get the impression he would have worked it up from nothing.
Yes.
Yes, and I know very much like he would have been like a staple within a community as well, because I feel where his store was, there would maybe have been like a laundry store, maybe a salon. There was something to do with being a part of the other store owners, like a community, if I can say that to you.
Yes, I think in those days it was like that.
We looked out for each other is what I keep hearing.
Yes.
You see? I do get the impression also as I connect with Dad, Darren, he makes me feel like he didn't get his goodbye. So I didn't feel like his passing was expected.
Right.
Yep. And I do feel very much, with the greatest of respect, he also makes me feel that he still felt like he had a lot of life to go. So I don't feel he had made all his, I'm okay with life. I feel he still had life to unfold that little bit more.
Yes.
Yep. And I know very much, I don't know why or how this is significant, but would you understand why I get the impression of like a collection of newspapers or collecting things from newspapers?
I don't know about that.
Okay, I'll tell you exactly what I see and we'll see if this makes sense. I almost want to say New York Times. Okay, so I just keep seeing this newspaper and I feel like I'm taking a piece out of this and I want to keep it. And I almost want to say either the puzzles or Sudoku, crossword, something like this is the easiest way that I could say.
I actually feel it wasn't the New York Times, but I feel that it could have been him cutting out ads that he'd placed in the paper.
Okay, I just feel like I'm taking some piece out, maybe like this size, and I'm keeping it as the easiest way that I could describe to you. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm very aware of this whole feeling of other people within the spirit world. And I feel, would you understand whether it would be like a generation of maybe Italian or another nationality?
Well, not Italian, but yes.
Okay, and I'm talking people who would have a different accent, and I'm not willing to go German or Polish. I feel very, very Mediterranean in some way, and so I say Italian or maybe even Portuguese. Okay.
No, we're Canadian, and his relatives are all English.
No, okay, well, I know English, don't I? So so I need to hold that to see what else I may be picking up, darling, but I can't, I'm not going to clench at straws. I will let that unfold if it's there. But I do feel that the Bill or the William would be very significant with Dad in the spirit world, you see. And I feel like this should connect to you as an uncle in some way. And you know, like how sometimes you can have Will or Billy or Bill, I feel like you would have known him as a shorter version. Okay. I don't feel they were together when Dad was passed. So I feel this is a reconnection, is the easiest way that I can say to you. But I also know, as I connect, you would also understand, would you understand Peggy or Margaret also?
No, but you know, when you say, I'm just thinking William, I think he had a brother die when the brother was like 3 years old or something.
Yep.
And I think that might have been his name.
Okay, well, you could do homework and then you can let us all know. But how beautiful if this is what unfolds, your dad being reconnected with this brother.
Right.
Yes. But I know that Dad stepped forward because he knows he didn't get this goodbye. He wants you to know that he wished he still had those times, those moments to see life unfold that little bit more. But one thing I do want to say to you, he was very proud to be your father.
Thank you.
As much as I had to work hard and I wasn't always present, he says, I worked hard so that we could have the life we had. Okay?
Yes.
So his dedication was his work, darling. As much as he loved being a father, he knows he wasn't always present to be father, but he always tried to make up for it when it came to holidays, vacations, or trips. You
Correct.
see? But what
Yeah.
he keeps saying is, now it's time for you to get your finances in order. Okay. And I feel like just looking at what you need, what you don't need, and you know, I'm not going to be your accountant, but I know that your dad would be able to share good ideas and good tips and topics when it comes to things like this, my darling. So there must be something going on where you're really analysing your estates and your finances at the moment.
Correct.
Thank you so much for allowing me to connect with this beautiful man. I knew that I couldn't move forward until I got my furniture shop or store. Again, I just want to double check. Do you understand the Kath or Kathleen connecting with the family as well?
No, I don't know any of the names.
I don't feel Kathleen connects to your dad. I feel she connects to your mum's side.
I don't know Kathleen, no.
Okay, just to help you out that little bit more, look to where the nurse connects.
The nurse connects?
Yep, so look to where the nurse is in the family.
I don't know of a nurse in our family.
Your mum has sisters, is that correct?
No.
She doesn't, okay. I'm going to leave it then, darling, because if it goes no, there's something that's wrong here. But please take the love of Dad, and please know, well, it's Father's Day, isn't it, to you? So it's his gift to you from Father's Day.
Thank you.
You're ever so welcome, ever so welcome. I need to place this Catherine, because I get it so very, very clear. So thank you very much, darling Colleen. Let me see what this beautiful lady is unfolding here. I don't feel this lady is very old, so I feel maybe within her 50s when she goes to the spirit world. I do feel that she would have been a nurse or worked within the medical field. I know that Kath or Kathleen, Catherine would connect with this lady as I connect here with her. I know that Peggy or Margaret would also be significant with this lady, but I feel like I want to start singing, to be honest with you, and I know that even within her work, as serious as it could be, I know there's a childlike energy with her. I know that she may have even at some point worked with kids through her profession within the nursing or the care, but I feel very playful with her. Her energy is like, hey, don't worry, take your time, we'll get there. She's helping me out a lot, let's just say that. But I do feel that she should still be alive today. I do feel very, very much that who I'm connecting with feels that they didn't get to say the goodbyes that they wanted either, which is frustrating. But I know that this lady goes to the spirit world very, very quick. I almost want to say unexpected, but not sudden. Okay, and I feel that things unfolded quick, whether she had sepsis or she had some form of infection that took her to the spirit world very quick. But I know Kathleen is very significant to this lady's name, and I know that there's a connection to working in care or working with nursing perhaps also with children, and Peggy or Margaret is significant to the family too.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Who understands this lady? Press your raise
And I
hand.
feel like within my 50s, I don't feel she's very old. Definitely not.
Thank you. No hands raised until now. I always speak too soon. Steve,
Yep.
you have your hand raised. Hello, Steve. If you could press your unmute button. Steve W.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
What do you understand, buddy?
Yes. My mom's name was Kathy, and she passed away about 1.5 years ago.
And do you understand where I get this connection to the nursing or working in care?
My dad was a nurse.
Okay. And do you understand also where I get like Margaret or Peggy?
But Peggy was a woman at my church that my mom knew, and they were close.
Okay. But she's also passed.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Now, I did feel very much, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I didn't necessarily feel like Mum had this prolonged illness. I feel things moved very quick with Mum.
She had liver disease, and
that's okay, and that's why I felt very much like infection or the blood's not right. I did feel very playful with your mum. Like I feel there was a beautiful light to her. She didn't take life too serious, but she was a woman of encouragement and trying to nourish and love people is the easiest way that I could describe to you. Okay, I do get the impression that she feels that she didn't get to quite have a conversation with you before she passed. Would you understand that?
yes, she was in a coma.
Okay, because I know as I connect here with you, I want to tell you I heard the words that were said, but I didn't get a chance to say things back. I didn't get the chance to say things back. I know that it was difficult for the decisions you had to make for me, she says, but I was not coming back. She's a woman that's straight to the point, if I can say to you, okay?
Yes.
I wasn't coming back. Stop being so hard on yourself, okay? And she just keeps making me feel very much that when she was either in the hospital or where she was being cared for, you took her belongings home with you. Is that true?
Yes, my dad and I did, yes.
Perfect, because she keeps telling me to say that the pajama or the night dress, she tells me to say it was folded and still placed on a bed.
Yes.
Okay. She also makes me feel very much as I connect here with her as well. She just glows with so much light, and I feel, you know, it's interesting because as I feel into her spirit that little bit more, she makes me feel there is a healer in her. So I feel like she would have given healing, or she would have sent prayers and thoughts to people in beds of sickness or ill, or there's something very spiritual about her, if I can say that to you, Steve.
Yes, not very religious, but definitely spiritual.
Yep, because I just feel that she would go that extra mile for others as well, is the easiest way that I could say to you, okay? And I also feel she wasn't just your mum, she was a frigging good friend, if I can say that to you, you know?
Yes, she was like a best friend.
Yep, she just keeps telling me, she says, you know I was hard on you because I knew you could do better. She says, I seen your light before you could see it yourself. Okay, and I just get the impression from the spirit world, she's trying to support you so much more because she keeps making me feel you need her at this moment. You need her at this moment. Would you understand why I get the impression of maybe needing her where dad's concerned?
Yes, my dad has health issues too.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to pry too much. But would you understand as well, this is absolutely bizarre, would you understand where I would connect to the little dog in the spirit world, like a little Shih Tzu or a Bichon? I keep seeing this little dog. Perfect.
Cavachon,
because
yes.
she keeps almost like picking it up and trying to show me this little dog, you see. She just keeps making reference to being happy with the changes you have made, being happy with the changes you have made. But would you understand where you have something that hangs, whether it be like an angel or something that you feel or you represent to your mum?
She loved angels, yes.
Yeah, because I feel like a sun-catching angel or something like this that I keep seeing. Now, just very quickly, would there be a connection to a teacher?
Oh, boy. I'm trying to
Don't
think.
overthink it. Let me just see if there's information she tells me about it, then we'll move forward with it. You know, like this thing about the church, would you know if your mum would have like taken time to talk to the children or to take children into another room so that the parents can do things? Or I just feel there's something about nourishing other children.
Yeah, she didn't do a whole lot of that, but she did. I mean, she did like kids.
Okay, not too sure, but what I do feel is there's something more than just her being your mum. I almost feel like she's being mum to a lot of people, is the easiest way that I could describe to you. Okay, just to finish off with you, she keeps telling me to tell you she's on the other side of the rainbow. Okay, and I know that this is significant. There's something to do with the rainbow that I want to associate to your mum. Okay,
Yes.
but she tells me to
Yes.
tell you I'm on the other side of the rainbow. Okay, and I know that she keeps telling me to say thank you for letting me go, but you knew my dignity was the most important thing, my son.
Thank you.
You are so
Bless them.
welcome.
Thank you.
You
Thank
did
you.
not let me down. You did not let me down, she says. And just as a FYI, she keeps showing me ELM Street. So there must be a connection to Elm Street somewhere. Okay. But she keeps showing me Elm Street. Okay. Yep. Okay. She just keeps saying to me, I'm finished. I'm finished. He knows I'm there. He knows I'm there. Okay. She sits with you at the breakfast table, I have to tell you, or the breakfast bar, whatever you want to call it. But thank you so much for allowing me to connect with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're ever so welcome. Thank you very much.
Dominic, Steve, thank you very much. Dominic, always our pleasure to have you come join us on a Sunday. We love it. We absolutely love it. Thank you so much for your commitment and volunteering your time to our Sunday gathering. Some announcements before you hear some words for the week from our friend Darren. First of all, you can find out more about Dominic at dominicboag.com. Easy to remember. He'll be traveling to the United States, and I saw that he's got some live demonstrations, so check it out. Also, what's coming up? Our friend Scott Milligan is back this week, so we have classes with him Monday, Tuesday, Sitting in the Power Tuesday. Friday is a demonstration of trance mediumship, also Sitting for Healing. Pretty great. Also, if you have not yet been to our student medium demonstrations, we have 2 left in the month of June, Thursdays at the same time we started today. They are just filled with so much love and joy and such beautiful people really committed to sharing the reality of the afterlife. You can find out about everything going on, by the way. Go to wedon'tdie.com and click on the store page. Our July medium classes are open. You don't need to ever want to be a demonstrating medium, but I tell you what, when you start to understand how your soul works and how the spirit world works with us, it's just another feather in your cap, if you want to say that we don't die, that love is all around us. And of course, a handful of people got readings here today, but those people represented all of our loved ones that are with us and cheering us on. They truly are with us, and through Dominic's mediumship, you could see just how close they are. They hear us, they do. Next week is Sunday Gathering number 170, by the way, my goodness. If you want to watch any past replays of Sunday Gatherings for that little shot in the arm, you can certainly do that. Again, wedon'tdie.com, there's a page, it says Sunday Gathering, and you can go watch some of the replays. One last thing, thank you for those of you who have donated to make our Sunday Gathering possible. It is not necessary, but I tell you, we appreciate it. We truly do. So I think that's it for me. I'd like to send it over to Darren for a few words for the week.
Thank you for that, Sandra, and thank you to Dominic. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy to be in the company of you two, watching and listening to you guys work. Absolutely fantastic. So thank you for that. And thank you for each and every one of you for tuning in and being part of this wonderful experience. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Moving forward is not always easy, but we all have those things we desire, we want to do, places we want to go, whatever it may be. And like Dominic said, sometimes you have to make really hard, tough decisions, but with grace. And as he said, you deserve the best. So sometimes we have to come out of our comfort zone. We have to make those brave and bold decisions, those brave and bold moves. If you think about it, do you want to be the person that Sandra talked about, sitting in a car park at Disney after you've done all that planning and organising? Or do you want to be that one that moves forward and achieves what you set out to achieve, what you desire? I know what I'd want to do. So just when you leave this Sunday gathering, have a think. I'm sure you've all got those things buzzing through your head now, of all these things you want to do, you want to try, you want to go, whatever it may be. Just pick one, like Dom said, one step at a time. Just pick that one thing that you've held back doing for many, many years. Be brave, be bold, because you deserve the best. I'm now going to hand you to Dominic to do our closing prayer.
Thank you, Darren. Darren, Sandra, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Friends, let's just blend our thoughts for a moment of contemplation as we give thanks. Divine Spirit, we graciously thank you for coming forward and giving us the opportunity to come together as one. We ask that you come with us on this journey and be our light and help us move forward with grace and compassion, but with courage. Help us find that bravery that we know we can have, but also allow us to move forward knowing that you are by our side. To know that death is only an illusion and that life is eternal is a gift that you can grant us. And we ask that you grant us that gift and that knowing in our journey, because one day our destination will be with you. And until then, allow us to move forward with compassion for each and every one that we cross, and for those who deeply need our love. Show us how we can love them. All this we say in your name, which is love. Amen.
Beautiful, Dominic. Thank you so much. And Darren, love you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, and also to our friends in the spirit world. Well, we have our closing song with the same theme. It is Sarah Bareilles and Brave. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. We read every message in that chat box. Thank you for your kind words. Oh my gosh, we love you. You're part of our family. Go register for next week before you forget, okay? WeDon'tDie.com. Click on the store page. You'll see the Sunday gathering and everything going. We love you. See you again soon. Bye, everyone, and happy Father's Day. Bye.